7 is the number of spiritual trials. It's like she's telling you, you'll get everything if you go through nothing. It's not about the easy way. It's about internal crises, nights of doubt, and the search for meaning in chaos. But if the 7 has not broken down, has not betrayed itself, it is reborn stronger than before, like a phoenix from the ashes. Many great minds and artists were 7s. Stephen Hawking is the number 7 of fate. His body was limited, but his mind was flying in the universe. It's about how inner strength is more important than external circumstances. The 7 wins not with muscles, but with depth. Her magic lies in intuition, ideas, and insights. But an ordinary person with the number 7 often suffers. Why? Because he feels that he is not like that. They don't understand him. He talks about the meaning of life, but everything is about discounts. He's looking for solitude, and he's invited to noisy parties. He wants to go into silence, but the world screams, and if he doesn't understand his nature, he will break down. That's why many 7s feel like losers. It seems to them that something is wrong with them, that they're weird, superfluous, and don't fit in. But that's a lie. Their gift is the ability to see what others don't see. They just came into this world not to fit in, but to show a new way. How can the 7 succeed? First, don't betray your depth. Don't adjust. Don't pretend that you're like everyone else. Secondly, to look for your own business where you can be yourself, where you can dig deep, explore, dream. And thirdly, trust, because the 7 represents trust in life, in the secret scenario of the universe. The secret of 7s is that they win when they don't play by someone else's rules. Let's remember J.K. Rowling. She has the number of fate 7, rejection after rejection, poverty, depression. But she did not stop writing about Harry Potter because she believed not in success, but in the fact that the world needed it. And at some point, her faith in the invisible turned into millions. This is the mystical luck of 7s. It comes when they go against logic. When you trust your inner voice, not the crowd. When they go alone, but with fire inside. Their magic is not in rituals, but in loyalty to themselves. And when they finally open up, the whole world freezes because it feels this power. But there is a downside. When the 7 gets tired of believing, when she starts to think she's a mistake, that you need to be normal. That depth is a weakness. And then the downward path begins. Unloved work, fake relationships, emptiness inside. Such 7s do not last long. They either burn out or wake up. 7, like no one else, feels when he is not living his own life. It's like living in someone else's body. Outwardly, everything is fine, but the soul is silent. And only when the 7 return to themselves, to their interests, to solitude, to the search for truth, life is filled with light again. This is the real awakening. Therefore, if you are a 7, remember, you're not weird. You're deeper. You're more sensitive. You're wiser. But you don't have to prove it to the world. You just have to be yourself. And if you walk the path to the end without giving yourself up, your reward will be more than money or fame. Your reward is inner peace. And he's worth everything. You have just learned one of the most powerful mysteries of numerology, the magic of the number 7. Now, you understand that 7 is not just a number. This is the path of a loner, the path of a mystic, the path of a person who goes through doubts and pain to his truth. And if you feel that this is about you, don't be afraid of your otherness. She's your strength. If you like this topic, please like this video and write in the comments, do you feel the energy of the 7? And if we get 100 likes, I'll post a video about the number 8, about why the 8s seem to be created for power and money, but they often lose everything because of one fatal mistake. Surprisingly, in real life, many 7s feel that they live in two worlds. One is real, the other is inside. These are people who think in images, premonitions. They often become spiritual teachers, esotericists, and philosophers. But at the same time, they may suffer from anxiety, panic attacks, and feelings of meaninglessness. And all because their consciousness is too finely tuned. They feel things that others don't even dream about. Now let's ask the question, why do ordinary people, inspired by 7s like Jordan, try to copy their path and fail? Because they forget an important thing. The number 7 is not about external actions, but about internal alchemy. The 7 does not work according to the rules. She creates her own. And if a person who does not have its vibrations tries to follow the same path, he may get lost. The 7 is about intuition, about fine tuning to the invisible. When a person with the number 7 starts listening to the noise of the crowd following trends, he loses his main weapon, the inner compass. Successful 7s have never been part of the system. They stood aside, watching, thinking. Their strength lies in detachment. But as soon as they get carried away by the external brilliance, the magic disappears. Take the example of Stephen Hawking. His path was that of a scientist and thinker whose strength was not in his body, but in his mind. And although he did not succumb to the patterns of a typical millionaire or a star, his influence on the world is comparable to the most influential personalities. This is the manifestation of the 7, not loud, but deep, not for the crowd, but for eternity. Often 7s don't strive for wealth, and that's why they can achieve it. Paradoxically, when they follow their true path, the universe rewards them. But if they start chasing money, sincerity is lost, and with it, luck goes away. The 7 loves silence, solitude, and meaning, not Vanity Fair. Numerology says 7 is the way of the sage. But what makes a wise man real? Not knowledge, but the ability to understand where the truth is and where the illusion is. The real 7s see that wealth is just one of the tools, not the goal. They know the meaning of life is not in millions, but in how you use these millions for growth, service, or destruction. Many people think, if 7 is so wise, why is it so difficult for her to be happy? The answer is simple, because she is not looking for superficial happiness, but deep happiness. She is not satisfied with likes, noise, status. She needs contact with the eternal. And until this contact is found, everything else loses its taste, because the essence of the 7 is in the search. And only by finding herself does she become truly invincible. That is why the 7s who start copying other people's success models early often fail. It's like they're getting into someone else's skin, losing their uniqueness. Their path is not in copying, but in deep research, not in imitation, but in discovery. And as soon as they return to their nature, an explosion occurs. Suddenly, everything starts to take shape by itself. Look at Johnny Depp. He's not interested in the rules of show business. He's not a cover hero in the traditional sense, but his energy is magnetic. This is the 7 in its purest form, mysterious, non-standard, living according to internal laws. He is not perfect, but in his imperfection, he is incredibly attractive. That's how the number 7 works, not through logic, but through charm and mystery. The magic of the 7 is that it works only when you're not expecting a result. This is a path of faith, not a guarantee. The 7 must act from within, with confidence in life, in the flow, in their mission. As soon as a person wants to control success, everything collapses. The 7 requires humility before the unknown, and he rewards you for it. The mistake of many is to expect stability from the 7. That's not what she's for. Her element is inspiration, discovery, and spiritual growth. Financial success comes to her when she is not afraid to be strange, not afraid of loneliness, not afraid of being misunderstood. Because the truth is always in the minority, and the 7 is the vehicle of this truth. Think of Nikola Tesla, a genius who lives outside of time. He didn't seek fame, but he left behind a world filled with electricity and ideas. He was misunderstood, lonely, but true to himself. And this is the power of the 7. She doesn't play by the rules, she creates new ones. But be careful, the number 7 can be treacherous. It gives energy to the chosen ones, but it requires complete honesty. If you are a 7 and lie to yourself, you are destroyed. If you play someone else's role, you lose everything. This is a path of strength, but also a path of great responsibility. Either you follow your inner light, or you drown in illusions. Have you noticed how the number 7 seems to follow us everywhere? 7 days a week, 7 wonders of the world, 7 notes, 7 colors of the rainbow, 7 lives of a cat, and of course the 7 in the date of birth, which supposedly gives people mystical powers. But here's the question. Does the 7 really bring good luck to everyone, or just a select few? Why did Michael Jordan, who was born under the number 7, have not just a career, but a path of legend? Why is 7 a symbol of luck in casinos, in religion, in magic, in folk beliefs? But in the life of an ordinary person, everything is completely different. Maybe the number 7 is not a magic code, but an insidious trap that dreamers fall into. If you have ever felt that your efforts are not yielding results, that you are constantly missing one step towards your goal, perhaps you are living under the influence of this very 7. It gives you a vivid imagination, a passion for perfection, a desire for spiritual and great things. But at the same time, it often leads to loneliness, anxiety, and inability to earn money. In this video, we will sort out the mystery of the number 7, how it works, who it gives strength to, and who it leads to failure. You will find out why the 7s are often geniuses, scientists, philosophers, athletes, and spiritual leaders. But in everyday life, it is more difficult for them than for others. We will tell you how not to become a victim of your fate if you were born under the number 7. And most importantly, how to turn this magical vibration into your superpower. The story of the number 7 is not just a series of coincidences. Since ancient times, it has been considered sacred. 7 planets in astronomy, 7 days of the week, 7 wonders of the world. Even in the Bible and the Quran, the number 7 carries a special burden. It is always surrounded by a halo of mysticism, power, and special energy. And today, millions of people still believe that if you have the 7 behind you, you will be guided. But where did this confidence come from? Why exactly 7 and not 5 or 8? Look at the great sevens: Michael Jordan, David Beckham, Cristiano Ronaldo, Julius Caesar, who, according to numerologists, had the energetic influence of the number 7. These are people who seem to be guided by fate. They didn't just win, they became legends. But if you dig deeper, their path was full of inner struggle, self-discovery, and rejection of the mundane. Sevens often go against the crowd. It is important for them to be unique, special, and this is what becomes both their strength and their curse. 7 is the number of loneliness. People with this fate number often feel misunderstood. It's harder for them to build friendships, families, and businesses. They are intuitive, but closed, and if they don't reveal their gifts, their magic becomes poison. All luck can turn into disappointment. After all, the 7 requires depth and meaning, not just external brilliance. Take a look at Jobs. Although his number of fate was not 7, in the numerological portrait, it was 7 that was responsible for his visionary, loneliness, and striving for perfection. He intuitively felt what people needed, but at the same time remained aloof. This is exactly how the 7s operate. They foresee the future, but often suffer from the present. The magic of the number 7 is always a challenge. This is not the path of easy success. This is the way to know yourself, to immerse yourself in the mysteries of the world and your own soul. Such people can become great philosophers, scientists, and leaders, but they need to learn how to manage their detachment. Otherwise, their strength will turn into weakness. One of the most striking examples is Nikola Tesla. His destiny number was exactly 7, a genius ahead of his time. He saw the world differently, creating ideas that humanity could only understand decades later. But how did his life end? Oblivion, poverty, and loneliness? The 7 gave him genius, but took away his earthly possessions. He was not of this world, and it was this that became both his blessing and punishment. 7s are the alchemists of the world. They transform reality, but if they don't find inner harmony, all their magic will crumble to dust. Such people often go to extremes, from complete isolation to fanatical obsession with an idea. They either become the greatest in their field or disappear into obscurity. Because the 7 requires complete trust in intuition and the rejection of superficial goals. Michael Jordan is one of the greatest basketball players in history. His destiny number is 7. He didn't just win, he dominated. But behind this success was obsession, endless hours of work, and internal conflicts. He was tough not only on his rivals, but also on himself. This is exactly how the 7 behave. They tirelessly demand more, seek perfection, even when the whole world is already applauding.